What if the greatest love of your life could be erased like a bad dream?
2004's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind isn't just about heartbreak. It's about memory, identity, and whether the pain of love is what makes it worth remembering in the first place.
By attempting to erase Clementine from his mind, Joel discovers that a memory erasing machine is not the same as healing.
This film forces us to ask, is the risk of heartbreak worth the chance to love again?
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
We want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation via Cash App, or you can head on over to patreon.com/axiomamnesia to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber. The executive producer of this video is Red Cloud, who requested this film through Axiom Amnesia's Deep Dive on Demand program that we'll tell you more about later.
We're going to spoil this.
We're definitely going to spoil this.
We probably already did.
But Red Cloud asked this question: would you want previous relationship experience to be gone, good and bad? And so that was the spirit with which we had, watched this film again after many years and, are considering in this video. So let's first give some background information. The film was directed by Michel Gondry. It was written by Charlie Kaufman, who's known for surreal explorations of consciousness, like Being John Malkovich, that movie, which was very strange and interesting. I should go back and revisit that film. Gondry combines lo-fi practical effects with this dreamlike editing, creating a visual language that mimics memory's fragility, right? And it does, the way things are cut in the film does kind of make you feel like that. Now, the film was critically acclaimed and won the 2005 Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. And Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet received widespread praise for their against-type performances. And also, there's a bit of trivia. The title comes from an Alexander Pope poem, Eloisa to Abelard, which reflects the theme of seeking peace in forgetting. So, the cast. The cast is starring Jim Carrey as Joel Barish. Kate Winslet is also the other star, Clementine Krasinski. Kirsten Dunst plays Mary Spivo. Mark Ruffalo plays Stan Fink. Elijah Wood plays Patrick Wirtz. And Tom Wilkinson plays Dr. Howard Mizerwak. Think for yourself, question everything, break free from the so-called truths that they want you to accept. The Axiom Amnesia collection is here. Bold logo t-shirts and hoodies designed for thinkers who refuse to settle for assumptions. Stand out and make a statement. Show the world you don't just go along, you think critically. Plus, it's a great way to support the channel and keep this work going. Get yours today. The link's in the description, or you can visit us anytime at axiom.app.
So what happened in the movie?
Well, Joel Barish and Clementine Krasinski fall in and out of love in a relationship marked by volatility and passion. After a painful breakup, Clementine undergoes a medical procedure offered by Lacuna Incorporated to erase all memories of Joel. Devastated, Joel decides to undergo the same treatment. As Lacuna employees erase his memories while he sleeps, Joel relives the relationship in reverse order, starting with its bitter end and moving backward to its tender beginnings. During the erasure, Joel realizes that he doesn't want to lose Clementine entirely. In his mind, he desperately tries to hide her in unrelated memories to prevent her from disappearing. Yet the process relentlessly continues until he arrives at his very last memory, the day they first met on a Montauk beach. As that memory dissolves, Clementine whispers to him, "Meet her in Montauk." Meanwhile, outside of Joel's mind in the real world, Lacuna's staff reveal their own dysfunction. Patrick exploits Clementine's erased memories to try to seduce her. Stan and his secretary, Mary, have fooled around, and Dr. Mizerwak is exposed for having erased Mary's memories of their past affair. Horrified, Mary mails Lacuna's confidential records to all of the patients. So when Joel awakens, his memories of Clementine are gone, but fate intervenes. He impulsively travels to Montauk, where he meets Clementine again. The two reconnect, unaware of their history until they receive the Lacuna tapes. Listening to their bitter complaints about each other on tape nearly drives them apart. But ultimately, they choose to try again. The film ends on this haunting note. Knowing that their love will likely collapse again, Joel and Clementine embrace the beauty and pain of trying again anyway. So that's what happens in the film, right? So had you seen the film before?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
I saw the film before, but I couldn't remember a thing from when I did,
I remember one scene.
You said I remember him under a table.
As a kid.
I was like, what?
He was a kid. No, it was Jim Carrey under the table as a kid. That's what I remembered.
You know, this was like comedic and dramatic at the same time, though. And I think Jim Carrey is such an underrated actor. And then if you think about when the film came out and was made, like, you know, in the early 2000s, Kate Winslet really was still on the high, because I think Titanic was 2001. You know, when Titanic came out. When is Titanic? 99?
Like 97.
You're right. Okay, so Titanic was 97. It's still within about 10 years of her hitting the scene. So she's doing all these different types of films. And, you know, we see her in this film. And I do think that she was a very different character, you know, because I always think of her as Rose from Titanic. But at any rate, you know, so they both are established and famous actors at this point. And here they are in this movie that seems on its face to be very weird and quirky, right? It was not, like I said, it wasn't my first time watching the movie. But I think the first time I just didn't connect with it, because I remember it.
I remember that it was really good. That's all I remember.
I didn't connect with it when I first saw it. And I'm glad I saw it again, because, you know, if you don't connect with a movie when you see it at first, then even though you know the name of it, you're like, it has a check mark behind it where you're just not trying to go there again.
You know what you need to go back and watch?
What?
I have it. The Final Cut with Robin Williams. Because that movie, it's good, but I don't think the critics liked it.
Well, there's so many movies that critics don't like.
But it's kind of similar because it's about memories and stuff and that sort of thing.
The Final Cut. You know what? Maybe I remember that.
Yeah, but Robin Williams is a cutter.
Oh, yeah. That was good. Yeah, well, we should revisit that. Have y'all seen that movie? Y'all go watch that and decide if we should try to revisit that. All right. So did you like the ending? In the end, they decided they're going to try again and whatever.
No, there's no good way to end this, right? He had to have that. Oh, she exposed everything and now they know, kind of. But did they really even need to know? Is it stronger if they don't know?
And they try again. So what I think is that...
Because it's just like, oh, the memories and the stuff that you implanted led you back to each other.
Or maybe if you saw each other, it would be like, see, here's what I believe.
Yeah, well, that's what he asked, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like, do I know you or something of that nature?
Yeah, and they don't know each other. At first, when I saw it at the beginning, I was thinking because he meets up with her, you know, sees her, and then they have this long conversation on the train when they re-meet, not knowing that each other, you know, that this is who, you know, that they have had a relationship in the past. And so what's funny to me is that I thought that she was really kind of basically scheming on him. Like she planted herself so that he would notice her and not go away, you know, that kind of thing. But it turned out to be that neither of them know, and they were just being themselves. And the thing is that people are sometimes just drawn to one another, and that given a similar set of circumstances, they gonna click. Yeah. And then the people, and probably the opposite is true. If it's somebody you don't click with, it might not be just because of whatever immediate circumstantial thing happened. It's something about you guys' personalities that just don't click.
But I wasn't sure that it was the present, or the future characters, right? Until the part about the song when his mama was singing the Clementine song. I don't even know the name of the song. Oh, my darling, that song.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that's why he didn't remember. So that means that they are the future characters and they did meet, because you kind of don't know for certain.
Because it's like you're hopping through time and, you know, and you don't know exactly. You're like, okay, this is in the past, or was what I saw in the beginning, the future,
but by the end, you kind of get it. So that's good. Like
the execution was amazing. The execution definitely was amazing. And as far as if I liked the ending of the film, I did like the ending because the ending supports just kind of my belief. And of course, you're going to like something that supports your belief. I did like the ending because it supports this idea that is my personal belief. And we always like things that support, that seem to reinforce our beliefs, right? And, that's part of my confirmation bias, I guess. But I do believe that, people are going to either come closer to each other or not. And I don't think it just has to be, everything had to align perfectly. If you put those two people together, they going to eventually, they're going to click, right? And the opposite is true, just like what I said before. That's my belief now, maybe some evidence and other that I'm unaware of. But my anecdotal experience is that.
Want us to cover your favorite movie ASAP? A one-time contribution of just $50 or more to Axiom Amnesia gets you a deep dive on demand, a 30-minute discussion on any film you choose.
It's easy. Step 1, send $50 via our website, axiom.app, where you can pay via card, Apple Pay, or you can pay directly via Cash App at $Axiom Amnesia. See the links below. Step 2, tell us your movie, email, the name you want to appear on screen, and what kind of deep dive you want. General, a specific character, a particular aspect of the film, etc. Step 3, watch your deep dive on demand with your name listed as executive producer.
Lock in your deep dive on demand today and hurry. Spots are limited.
This offer is not valid for filmmakers or distributors. Subject to availability and terms apply. So let's talk about Red Cloud's question for a second. Would you want previous relationship experience to be gone? And of course, if you erase it, you erase the whole thing, right? That means
no,
the good and the bad. Do you want that to happen?
No, because I'm not aware of any bad relationships that I had.
See, I
not
think,
to that level. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of any.
So here's how I look at all of it, and not just relationships, how I look at life. I look at life like even the bad things that happen made me who I am. And I would love to just be like, I wish that I didn't have to go through whatever the pain of that is, whatever it is. Because and I don't mean just relationships with people. I mean like, the loss of people, going through things that are terribly hard. I would have loved to avoid that pain, but then the pain makes you who you are now. Those experiences have shaped you. And without it, then who would you be? And I don't know that. So on the other side of stuff, you look at it many times. Maybe you look at it and you think you're better off. But maybe if I wasn't better off, I'd feel differently. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's like, what relationships do you want? Would you want erased? Right? Because it could be positive, right? Because if this existed, people be like, every time I think about this person who is gone, I have bad. I can't deal with it. So then just erase them from my memory.
See, I think that if you go through life, and probably most people, maybe, I don't know, I can't even characterize it. What I would say is that a lot of people have had experiences where they truly feel like their interaction with an individual has harmed them in such a way that they wish they never knew them, that they wish they could erase that.
But that's different than what I just brought up.
Yeah.
Which is a positive relationship where when the thought comes up, it brings pain to you.
Yeah. Well.
So, right. I think somebody would do that, right?
What if it's separate? Like, so what if it was, let's say, some type of relationship where, there wasn't a problem and it was a wonderful relationship, but certain things like maybe death or, you live in a certain time where you can't be together, like, I don't know, interracial relationships, or you got separated, or you're at a time where they have arranged marriages and that person is promised to somebody else, but whatever it is, you can't be together.
Yeah.
Then there's things like that,
it's how much pain is this thing causing, right? To get somebody to want to have something like this done.
Well, I also think that people are, so the old folks used to say stuff like, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are making these decisions at the height of the emotions they feel just in the wake of whatever just happened. And if you wait long enough, a lot of things that are the things that everybody in life experiences, stuff like heartbreak, or maybe, even death in most cases, right? Most people don't just stop existing because somebody who they love died, right?
Yeah.
So
Joel did it to spite her because she did it.
Yes.
And he only knew because the mail went to the
Yes. He found, that's how he found out.
So that's crazy too, right? Let me just see.
It was a fluke how he found out that she had her memory erased. And then he was like, well, I'm going to get mine erased, a tit for tat sort of.
But if he doesn't do that, do they not get back together? I don't think they get back together.
I think that they get back together if fate would have that they actually see each other again.
No, if he doesn't do it, then he still remembers all the breakup and everything.
Yeah,
so he meets
point.
her and she don't remember him, but he know what he think of her in that moment.
But here's the other thing: if enough time passes, does your anger are you able to look at that and say, I remember when, just like he did, as he's going through it, he knew he had dated her. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
but when he went for the erasure,
he went to the store and she didn't remember him.
Right, but he remembered her, right? At that moment when he went to the store, right? So he knows when he goes in for the erasure, he remembers all the bad things. But even remembering all the bad things as he's under and they're erasing his memories, he is saying, like, he's remembered, like, it's because he changes his mind in the process when he starts to see the good parts. Since it's going to reverse, the bad stuff was toward the end.
Right, but see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are going to have this knee-jerk thing like, oh, it brings up painful memories, so let me erase this person.
Well, yeah, you're
right. Even if all the things are good. And maybe she tried the same thing. I think she had to have tried it for them to be able to get back together, too.
Yeah.
She tried to stop it.
Well, let's talk about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and where that comes from. Like we mentioned earlier, it's the Alexander Pope poem. And so I'll read a little excerpt from the poem if you want to go look it up. It's Alexander Pope's poem, Eloisa to Abelard, lines 207 through 210, right? And so the quote from there is, how happy is the blameless Vestal's lot, the world forgetting by world forgot, eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, each prayer accepted and each wish resigned, right? And so that's what it comes from. Because I am very rusty at going back and analyzing poetry, and because it was a help, the Scripturient blog was very helpful in interpreting like what in the world, is going on with this poem, and also putting it into full context with the historical things that, with the history of what was going on at the time and what it's referencing to.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm quoting from as I'm explaining and reading these parts that are the interpretation. So familiar to many from the film, which takes its name from the third line, this quote is fundamentally a nod to the blessings of innocence and ignorance. Recall for a second the old adage that ignorance is bliss. That is the essence of this quote. Sunshine here is being used as a symbol of light and happiness, and the spotless mind is a metaphor for ignorance or a lack of memory. In other words, a mind that has forgotten the pains of an earthly existence. So the line fundamentally pertains to the preordained notion that happiness can only last so long as innocence remains.
Yeah.
In fact, this line takes it one step further by asserting that happiness can be infinite so long as knowledge of pain is absent. The final line serves to ratify the overall notion that happiness can be achieved by remaining distant from the world as a whole. Basically, it states that your prayers for happiness will be granted, but you will forgo any further wishes because happiness is all you will ever have. Only by never knowing heartbreak can you ever know happiness as a lone emotion.
Yeah.
That's their assessment.
I don't know. So I think like the sunshine, like eternal sunshine, when we think of sunshine, we think of like hope and all of that stuff, right? The spotless mind is one that hasn't been tainted with those negatives. So that's the idea of reversing your memories. You get rid of your memories, right? So all that is left there is hope. And that's what he was wishing for, right? That's what he thought was going to be the case. But then once he got into it, it's like, wait a minute, but there is this happiness that's there, right? There's sunshine in there, and the sunshine doesn't require the spotless mind, ironically.
And they were just willing, like they continued to, like, knowing everything, they moved forward with hope. And I think that is an important message in life, because sometimes things can happen and you might be like, I just don't think I could do it. I can't do it again.
Yeah, and thinking about the film, right? What were they trying to do? They were trying to find hiding space, places of darkness from the light or the sun, right? Is really what it was. Because them searching for the memories, they have to go to a spot where they can't be seen, which is, just kind of like this idea of darkness in the universe or in reality, right? So you're really trying to not be in this spotlight.
What I thought was really clever too was how, the idea that they come up with the idea that, hey, if you hide in memories that are not related to the ones they're erasing because they were memories of her, this is how they wind up going into his childhood memories, stuff that happened before he even knew her and stuff like that. So I really like that aspect of the film too.
Right.
It was very
and then
clever.
The whole song, right? It didn't work because the mother started singing the song.
So let's also talk about some of the themes of the film. Medical experimentation. Is this ethical to erase people's minds?
Let's just say experimentation.
Well, I think it's definitely, to even get to the point where you're offering it as a service is definitely,
okay, so
you had to experiment at some point. Is this ethical? Is it a thing? Let's just say if right now you could do that.
We know what's happening right now. CRISPR, right?
Tell me about CRISPR.
People trying to change their DNA. You buy kits and people trying to change their DNA and they're doing it, I guess. I don't know. But that stuff is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like,
things
that's something that's
vein.
Just way out there. You don't know that much about no DNA. I just order this thing at home and be like, let me go ahead and alter my DNA somehow, my genetics. Wait, what? What are y'all doing? So these things that we thought were just far-fetched, nowadays they're kind of like open sourcing them, right? Bringing down the barrier to entry, and people are experimenting with themselves, and we're gonna see how things turn out in the next couple of years.
My goodness. Yeah. So is it ethical, like, to the people who are inventing it, figuring it out, making the kits, and certainly profiting off of it?
I don't know. In this universe, it's that things, it has to be approved. I think it's just
but honestly,
procedure.
Forget this as a regular procedure. Forget that universe. I'm saying, just from a human perspective, is it ethical to say I'm going to intervene on the human experience?
That's what medicine is.
Well,
right? But they going to psychiatrists. You know what I'm saying? Those hypnosis, right? But that's what make these movies good and weird, right? Because they hinge on these technologies that don't yet exist. So I don't know where everyone has a line, right? So I do have a line, but I don't know where that line is. I don't know how to draw it or anything. It just has to be situation by situation.
Well, then I think about the positive applications of stuff like this, right? So let's assume it's something very, very traumatic. Like, what if right now you were over in a nation where somebody suggested that it should become the
Riviera? I think
the
people
Middle
need
East.
to remember that because the same reason.
What if you went through it yourself?
That's what I'm saying. We need to remember it. Like I tell people, we need to watch Roots and remember what happened in America, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but on an individual basis, maybe there's a thing like, okay, I was in a plane crash and I had to eat
like the movie Alive.
Passenger.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, then probably just cut that out, right? So it just kind of depends on what it is. But of course, that's going to differ for each person.
I mean, because just imagine if your life goes on and then you see something that you don't want to see, then you could just pop over to this doctor and you're like, hey, listen, I need you to take out, just like when we edit video, I need you to edit out this segment. It's around here. Go find that and just take it out so I don't remember it, right? So I think as a general rule, like, man, like you said, I don't know where the line is for me personally, but I don't feel good about that. But then I think about the positive things, right? What if what happened to you is an impediment to you being able to move forward in a way, and it's quote unquote ruined your life, right? And I think about victims of all manner of violence and crime, things like that, where, okay, if you wanted to be cataloged, then maybe you could make a video or a discussion about what happened, and then you could have it erased. So in other words, the history of what happened is preserved, but you don't have to relive it every day in your life. And I'll give you an example personally. There was a very traumatic event where one of my family members was murdered. And at the funeral, I made the decision, because obviously it was my immediate family. I made the decision that I did not want to sit directly in front of, where normally you would sit. I wanted to sit slightly to the side, even though I was in the front row, because I did not want to implant that image that I knew, because I know myself well enough by this point, that I knew that I would replay over and over. I didn't want that to even be a thing that I put in my database, so to speak, that could even be played again. And I avoided that for that very reason. And even though there were many other traumatic things, what I find about that experience during that time, because this happened back in 2012, I literally have very few memories of what even how I couldn't tell you what was really talked about. I knew where the services took place. But I have probably 4 or 5 memories from that time. But I guarantee that if I had sat in a different position, my memory would have been different. And even now, as I recall the event in my mind, years later, I feel like I'm better off for not having made myself imprint that particular image, which would have been torturous on me in my brain. But that's just me. Other people have different ways of coping. But to me, I could see the benefit of if you could erase it, if you didn't know that this would be something that would traumatize you.
My memory is like Joel in the beginning, where the faces don't show. Like, I don't see people's faces. I can't remember. I guess I can remember what people look like, but when I have memories, they're not that vivid in those ways. But we do know how the research and studies go, though, right? So what are the side effects and what happens, the results, after you start chipping pieces out of people's minds?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, does that also turn them, even like personality-wise, into something else?
Well, I mean, and I say, how could it not? Because it's like you start subtracting from the whole.
Yeah, but I'm saying not like how these memories, how they connect to the other things. It's more how the physiology of the brain. It's basically like cutting off those pieces because they're connected somehow. And then it's changing basically who or what the person is.
Right.
At a more fundamental level. Yeah. So that's a part of the ethics too. And I'll be like, well, y'all don't want to be doing this, but then where the ethics come in is we're creating, quote, Frankensteins, right? Frankenstein monsters. We're creating Frankensteins out here. So now I have to step in and now don't be like, now it's just a personal choice.
Right. And I, for whatever reason, what comes to mind for me is plastic surgery. Like, I think about how, people are like one tweak and then you start tweaking and tweaking. And then the next thing you know, you look like a lion.
Yeah, that's basically a lion. That's basically what happened when you like, this memory. But wait, I need to cut this out. And
the next thing you know,
a little nip over here.
So, yeah.
And then somebody going to come out with something with re-implanting memories, and then you got to go to the final cut guy, the cutter, to get your memories back. Maybe they'll save the ones they delete. I don't know, but it's just gonna be.
Then they're gonna be like, well, you have to have a fee because it's all gonna be monetized because that's how it always rolls. You got a fee, and for this fee, you're gonna have to.
Bro, you didn't pay for your subscription during these months, so we're not able to delete anything from that time period.
Or it'll be like when you get cloud storage, they're like, listen, your whole mind is going to be deleted if you don't make this payment by this time. Your ability to retrieve memories.
Hold on, what's that Elon Musk company? He got one that's doing that.
They like your life is
yes,
gone.
Where they put a chip and they could connect Neuralink.
Yeah.
And then they talk about, just imagine you could connect to Bluetooth without having headphones. I'm like, wait, no, I don't want
I'm
that.
Gonna pass on that. I'm gonna pass.
One time I had a virus, probably 2 decades ago, where just random audio would just start playing on my computer.
Virus.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? Just imagine that happened to you because you got this thing implanted in your brain. But that's a whole different discussion.
For those of you who don't know, you should visit axiom.app. And you'll be able to look at all of the recent videos across all of our channels. And I'm putting that on the screen right now just so y'all can see it and see what it looks like. Because there are a ton of videos that are over there. And also, I think that there are at least about 100 exclusive videos that are available for our Patreon members and our YouTube members. So, you know, if you're interested in more of our content, as I've seen many of you binge watching, be sure to check those things out. So the other kind of theme here and thing to point out is that, so it is the Clem in the memories, the Clementine in the memories that tells him, meet me at Montauk, right? So the thing is, this is not the real Clem, because this isn't a real memory, because this is your it's your dream.
It's dream.
So it's not the real
memory.
Clem.
But that's what is a memory.
It's how you remember.
You replaying something.
Is you replaying
and you
what
can
happened.
Change. It's your imagination too.
Yes. So if you can change it, so this isn't even the real Clem. So the question becomes, especially the stuff that's feeding him and wanting it more, not the original memories or whatever that he had, but the memories or the events that are happening as he sleeps, as they're running around, and his other memories that she wasn't part of, where they were like, we got to hide you in other places in the mind, right? This is all still a figment. This has nothing to do with Clem.
Right. So that's the thing about like the final cut. There's this one part where it's like, it's basically, okay, one part this guy is talking about, hey, I remember this, I don't know, the boat. You know, that we used to go on. I remember it being this color, and he look at the footage or whatever, and it's a totally different color, right? And that's why he brought it up. But yeah, the cutter is just like, yeah, memories basically are just like that. You know what I'm saying? Right? So even his memories could be wrong.
And, you know, that's something that people talk about, you know, like think about witnesses and stuff like that. People's memories are definitely fallible. There are things that I would have like totally sworn by, like the idea that, you know, you remember something a certain way is the whole reason we have the notion of a Mandela effect, right?
Yeah.
You know, so.
There's a big one, though.
What?
When Obama was given one of those correspondence dinners, Trump was there. And he said that's one thing Trump basically, I don't know the exact quote, will never be. That's president.
I remember that,
clip
but it
cannot
doesn't exist.
be found. If I look at the transcripts, I'm going to have to go through probably to find it. Wayback Machine or something. But I know that existed. But the thing too is we remember memories, right?
Yeah.
So the first time you try to recall something, that's probably the basis. And then from then on, you'll probably remember that memory.
Well, and think about the first memories of your life, like when you were a child. Yeah. Like, what's your earliest memory?
Your earliest memory is the one that you remembered the most. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't keep remembering it, those are the things that you don't remember. Like so much of the stuff that you just don't remember is because you never remembered it.
And look, this is the other thing.
You never recalled it.
You didn't experience it. You have created a false memory based on, like, it could have been an event that really happened, but it's false because it's not from your actual experience, based on what like your family said. Oh yeah, and when you were your first birthday, you had a cute, you know, outfit on, and it was this color, whatever they say, right? Which is based on they were their own memory, but then that could be fallible, right?
Or you see a picture and conjure up something.
Yes, and we don't even know it's happening. So this is why when people, especially things that happen in the past and long past, and they're explaining stuff, that they fully believe that what they're saying is an actual memory. And the older I get, the more I question some of my earliest memories, especially because on a couple of occasions, like, there are things where dates don't jive like they should. You know what I mean? Where you're like, okay, I should have been this age at this time, but then I say I have a memory, but we were living in this place and I know we didn't move there to this day. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, so much of me being in third grade is just missing.
What happened in third grade?
I don't know. So what? I thought I was going to this other school because I know I was, because I remember the teacher and some other students in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I didn't go to that school. Apparently, nobody remembers, nobody in my family. And that's a time that me and my brother would have been in different schools. And I know what school he went to and the reason why I wouldn't have went to this other school, right? But then I do maybe have a memory of doing something at that school. But I only remember 2 teachers from the school I went to when there should have been 3 if I was in 3rd grade, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know my 3rd grade teacher at this school, but there is no way that I didn't go there the whole time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's it. But is that a big flaw in the movie? Because I think part of it is that, I don't know, maybe they just hunt down what he thinks his memories are and delete those.
Yeah.
Or is there supposedly this
some confirmation on their end as to what they're...
is there this cache of infallible, truthful memories that exist?
Oh, and then you have your edited memories. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, but I think it's a flaw because they supposedly accurately deleting
because they're
those
going
memories.
in and they're like, oh, here it is, right? Because while he's sleeping, they're in his brain with this contraption on his head. And, you know, they're like, oh, yeah, got it. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like you call on a database and be like, here are all the memories of this.
Oh, look, we missed one, but here it is. Small file over here. Let's get it. Let's delete it, you know? You know, but I think, well, and maybe that just falls under our, you know, suspension of disbelief, right? Because it's so incredibly done, the film is, that I can live with the, you know, the minor thing that might not make as much sense. And I'm sure, given how outlandish the film is, that there's some explanation that can be made for that.
And the whole that old girl wanted to smash her boss. And that's thing.
So, because I wanted to get to that. The first thing I wanted to get to is how, you know, so Patrick, this guy, he works. So they're working for the company that's doing the eraser. And, you know, so imagine this. Clementine comes in there like, I want to erase my ex-boyfriend, da-da-da. He works for the company. Now, the way they do it is you go in, you get your consultation at the office. Then at night, they come to your house while you're sleeping. And then they sit there with their equipment and they erase your brain from whatever you want to get erased. So this guy, while he's watching her sleep or whatever, is falling in love with her. And then he's
like
her,
one of those NSA agents.
Yes. So, but he takes the memories and uses the memories, what he knows of her, to then impress her, to try to get her, you know, to get with her, right?
Yeah.
And that was like so unscrupulous, but just the fact that a person could be manipulated. I mean, you know, but that's high level manipulations. Then you also have the you know, Mary who basically had been sleeping with her boss. She now, in her mind, because her memory's been erased, she simply wants to. She's attracted, because again, you in the same situation, the same setup, and then what happens is Mary and the boss wind up kissing, and his wife sees has come, and his wife sees, and then she's like, tell her, you know, and then that's when he confesses that they had an affair and that he had erased her memory. And his wife was like, you didn't even tell her, you know, because the wife was pissed and she was just like, I'm out of here. But, you know, that's when it's revealed.
Those are different ethics right there.
Yeah. And this is like a whole, so now which is the thing that leads her to go tell every person who had gotten their memories erased about the data and what happened, right?
What's with all this salacious stuff they had to tack on to this good movie?
They in there trying to do up in there, and, you know, just all kind of stuff going on. But I thought that was I think it was realistic, because there's no way that the information people gain out your mind is not going to be used in some way to benefit people, because that's a huge
all of it
temptation.
To tie in together with 5 characters. You know what I'm saying? Basically.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 characters. It's just a lot.
It is.
It's a lot going on.
It is definitely a lot
circle.
going on. But I like it because it points. It doesn't just make it like it's perfect. We had to see those other stories to know that, hey, people with information, if they could see a way that it could benefit them personally,
but I
may
don't
have
need
that temptation.
Just because it points out a good idea doesn't mean that it needs to be in the movie. But
I think that's what they're communicating, the filmmakers, right? They want to communicate.
You know what I'm saying, right? It's like, it don't need to be there. You just put it there, right? There could have been another reason why Mary just like the straight ethics of it. I can't have this happening. I'm going to expose this whole thing.
But see, then that leads to the question of, would Mary have exposed things if she didn't find out herself that she was a, quote, victim of it? See,
no, she didn't have good morals.
which is why, like, it just highlights that we can be cool with other people having stuff done or interacting on the outskirts of something that we would not want to have done to us, or we would not want to participate. And look,
did she do it though?
How about this though? Does a person have a right to erase somebody else from their memory? Like, even though it's their memory, you know what I mean?
Did she do it willingly?
No, I don't. Well, maybe she did.
See?
I thought he did it as I don't know. She had to listen to her own tapes to find out.
Yeah, because her memory was
I guess, which maybe means it had to be willingly. Unless she was, patient zero.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But lots to think about with this film. Lots to think about, But, which brings me back to the whole ethics of it. I loved the film. I loved exploring the ideas of it. But if it was a reality, like, I don't like it. I don't feel good about that.
Whatever. It's a movie.
It is a movie, thank goodness. But then you were the one who brought up CRISPR. You know?
Well. Yeah.
But, yeah. I just want to take a minute to thank the executive producer, Red Cloud, for having us watch this film again, because it truly was in my list of films that I saw it, but it ain't my cup of tea. And, that just challenges me to go back to films that I had kind of dismissed earlier that I might have seen a couple decades ago and give them another chance, because unfortunately, when it's not your cup of tea, for me, it just goes into like the I'm not trying to see it again category. Like, I felt like I quote, wasted my time the first time and I don't want to see it again. And it was a turn off. And I realized actually in watching this why I thought it was, in that category.
Yeah.
It was weird. And at that point in my life, I wanted these sentimental movies and, whatever. I wanted Titanic. I was obsessed with Titanic, and those kinds of movies and love stories and stuff. But this was a weird love story and I just did not connect with it. So I am grateful that this is the film that you chose. Glad we talked about it. I still have a lot of gray areas, and clearly Heit does too, although he seems to feel a little bit better about the idea of memory erasure and the ethical nature thereof. But I just don't know. I don't know. The jury is out.
Yeah, I would like to cover the final cut.
Yeah, the final cut. That would be good. Because now that's a movie that I remember watching. I can't tell you the fine details. I don't remember what happened. But like you did with this movie, that's a movie I categorize as a good movie. I do remember that. And, the late Robin Williams is a great person. He's a great actor. But let me just say one more thing before we go. The movie What Dreams May Come is a Robin Williams movie that starring him and Cuba Gooding Jr. is a movie that I really was in love with back in the day. And then we tried to watch it and you ain't like that movie. You were like, you thought this was good. And I thought it was amazing. But we'll try to get you to rewatch that.
If you made it this far, type "Oh my darling" in the comments so we'll know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end.
Be sure to check out one of the videos that's on the screen right now. And also be sure to visit axiom.app, where you can find all of our recent videos in one place so that you can come back and watch them here on YouTube.